Welcome, everybody. We opened up the room a couple of seconds early so everybody can get time to get settled. Hi, Martin. How you doing today?
Hey Matt, I'm doing great. Thanks for being here with me, and thanks for introducing the entire range of Novoflex tripod heads and Pano heads, to our audience tonight or today.
Yes, yes. Well, thanks for broadcasting from Germany. What time is it for you there?
It's 7 p.m. right now. It's pitch black outside
So, good
already, of
evening to
course.
you.
Yeah,
Good
and
afternoon to
it's I,
everybody
I
on
think
this.
it's lunchtime for you, isn't it?
Yeah. Lunch early afternoon for us, and it's still morning for everybody on the West Coast. So, and all the other
Right.
people that tune in from around the world, thank you for being here. So,
And I think people in Australia, can we say good morning already?
which day? No.
Okay, people, please let us know where you're tuning in from which part of the world. We'd love to know.
Yes.
And if you have questions, as usual, please put them into the Q&A tab, which should be to your right. Is
Hmm.
that correct, Matt?
That is correct.
We will try to curate them, collect them, and try to answer them right after we finished our deck. I think that's our rough plan.
Yep.
Anything you would like to add, Matt?
Nope, but if you came here to learn how to choose a Novoflex tripod head, you're in the right place. So thanks for coming.
Yeah, we will walk you through the entire range of ball heads, geared heads, pano heads. So we will tell you a little bit about every head in our lineup today. We will compare them to each other in terms of size and load capacity. And Matt, I hope to hear some interesting stories from and learn from your experiences with our heads, as usual.
I'd be delighted. And I think I've had the opportunity to use most, if not all of them. So I look
I
forward to it.
think you have most of them. I think uh, the tiniest, the M. Niger, I think that's a head that you don't have, but we may
Could
equip
be.
you with one of these in the future.
Okay. Sounds great. Well, we put together a great presentation for y'all. Please keep in mind, like we decided to put this together because we know we've talked about all of the tripods, right? But you got to put something on top of it. And Novoflex has a really broad range of solutions for ways to grip the camera or whatever you want to do with it. And from the emails and the chats and the discussions that we've had with people over the years of running these programs, we realized that there was a gap in this, and we should provide a presentation like this to talk about what all the differences are between the heads. So this is your opportunity to ask questions, whether it's live here or if you're watching this on replay, to leave a question in the comments. So want to jump in?
Sure. Right. Let's do it.
Here we go.
Okay, Novoflex tripod heads. Choose the right head for every photographic endeavor. And right on the first slide, we have a very interesting head, which we will talk about a little further right into the presentation. But I thought this picture was a cool one, so I decided to put it right on the first slide. It's one of the heads that got released this year only. It's a geared head. We call it the Cube, written with a Q, UBE. And yeah, that's the reason it's right here on the first slide. Well, let's go further. Well, that's us. We introduced you tonight, and those of you who tune in regularly already know us, Matt and myself. Okay, I think we can jump right over it to the next slide. Well, this presentation will cover all of the heads. We mentioned this, so it's ball heads, geared heads, it's quick release units. Most of our quick release units these days are fully ARCA compatible. Then it's the full range of Pano heads, and we decided to split those heads into the heads for single row Pano photography and multi-row panorama photography, and also, of course, the Vertorama thing. And of course, some of these hats need to get leveled before you can start shooting. The leveling hats will conclude our presentation tonight.
Wonderful.
So here's a cool picture that my colleague Andreas shot in our studio a couple of days ago. It's most of the heads except the Pano heads that we're talking about today. So and this head has them all here. As this slide has them all here, so it's a nice comparison of in terms of size of the individual heads. Maybe you screenshot this slide if you want to compare different sizes right next to each other. Okay, so the first ball head series that we want to talk about is the Classicball Series, and as the name implies, it's a classic ball and socket head. It's available in 3 different sizes, and if you watch closely on the slide, I've named them all, and also the maximum load capacity, which ranges from 11 pounds to 26.5 pounds for the biggest classic ball. And what all of these classic balls have in common is they have 3 cutouts for the ball neck. They have a built-in friction setting using the blue ring. We will show this in more detail by switching the camera here. So the friction setting is activated using the blue ring. And what do I mean by saying preset? We have 5 different increments, so we can preset a certain amount of friction depending on the camera weight. And we have 3 different methods of controlling the ball head. We have the lever, which is used to lock down the ball. Let me just switch the camera again. So we have a lever here, which locks down the ball. We have the blue ring, which is used to control the friction setting. And then we have a third knob, which is used to control the Pano rotation. And when I say Pano rotation, the Classicball family has a cool built-in feature. We can use all the classic balls either the standard way, or we can turn them upside down so that the Pano rotation will move from the bottom to the top of the ball. And as such, you can use the entire housing to perfectly level the Pano rotation. That's the reason we have this little bubble level integrated into the bottom of the classic ball.
Hey, Martin.
Well, Matt, is there anything you want to add?
Yeah, for sure.
My explanation.
Yeah, what I wanted to add was this: is what might not be obvious to everyone here is that the thread can be dethreaded, removed from the top and the bottom.
Let me show you. Let me just switch to
it has a slotted head in it, and it has a 1/4-20 on one end and a 3/8 on the other end.
Exactly.
You'll see Martin doing that here.
You just unscrew this one here.
And then when you invert it, you screw it back in the other direction.
You take out this little adapter here, screw it back in.
And that's genius.
And the adapter goes in here. Or you can leave it out if your tripod comes with a 3/8 inch 16 thread anyways.
Yep.
And that's all it takes to use it upside down. It's that easy.
So if you use one of these ball heads as your regular everyday ball head, you can convert it into a leveling head by flipping it over and then use it for single row panoramas. It's beautiful that way.
Exactly. The only thing it's lacking, it doesn't have like built-in click stops as our Pano heads have, but this can be added by choosing from our extensive range of Pano rotators.
Yep, absolutely.
So available in 3 different sizes, starting at 11 pounds and going all the way up to 26.5 pounds. So these ball heads can handle a lot. Don't you agree?
Oh, absolutely. And I know that those are the numbers that the engineers say. I've put a little bit more on from time to time, and it held fast. I had a crossbar with 3 cameras and 3 different star trackers on the Classicball 5.
3
And
different star trackers.
3 star trackers and 3 cameras, and those each had 3 ball heads on them. So it was probably over 26.5 pounds, but it held beautifully.
That's a lot of leverage on either side, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was out of sight. It was great.
Okay, awesome. I think we have some nice pictures from our good friend Radomir Jakubowski here in Germany, who's a fan of using the classic balls. I think he owns them all, starting with the Mini, the Classicball 2, the Classicball 3, and the Classicball 5. And depending on what camera equipment he's choosing to go out with, he's choosing one of the 3.
Nice.
This is our good friend Robert Thompson in Northern Ireland, using I think it's the CB5 on top of our Triopod M. So by the way, if you invest into a Triopod M, the Classicball 5 is the perfect match because it's the same diameter as the Triopod M Spider. And if you choose one of the smaller triopods, the MagicBalance or the classic triopod, the CB3 is the perfect match. Because same diameter here. Yeah. Sure.
We have one question that's really topical right now. Matthew Rice asks, can a head be too large or small for a given tripod?
Too large or too small?
The diameter of a head. Yeah.
Well, if you use like a little tabletop tripod, I wouldn't necessarily recommend adding our CB5 on top of it. But rather pair it with a tripod of the same size in terms of diameter. That's a better fit. But I think speaking of your entire stabilizing equipment, it can't be too large or too heavy if you want the maximum stability.
Okay. Are there
because stability and everything that goes along. Yeah.
Got it. Are there other things that people might run into? Let's say if the base diameter of a head is larger than the spider, it could some knobs get in the way or something?
Yeah, depending on the spider you use, you might experience problems in operating those little knobs that are used to spread out the leg angles. Yeah.
Right. So for a practical point of view, it's best to
Exactly.
try and match the base diameter of your head to be no larger than the base diameter of your tripod spider.
Correct.
Cool. Thank you.
Hope this answers your question.
Matthew will let us know.
So more images from Radomir. Here, the image to the left was our Pro 7.5 tripod, somewhere in the Alps, and to the right was the Triopod M.
It's really important to note that these ball heads work in extreme environments also, which not every ball head's made the same. I've used it in sub-freezing conditions, and it's never locked up on me once.
We even had a photographer a couple of years back who went to Antarctica with one of our CB5 heads and spent a couple of months there on an Antarctic scientific station. And he was there with a BBC film team, and he used it over the entire period he'd been there, and had no issue at all. Okay, shall we go on? The next family is the MagicBall. Let me just flip the products here.
So I'll talk for a second. The MagicBall, when I first saw it, I was amazed by the engineering concept of it and the freedom of movement that it provides. It looks different because it is different, but it does allow you to move in many more directions than you would expect. And we'll talk about when that matters, but Martin's going to give you a close-up look at it right now. But we'll just walk through what you can see on the screen here. The Mini can hold 1 pound, right? Or is it 11 pounds?
That's 11 pounds.
11 pounds. Yep.
So the load capacity with the MagicBall is somewhat similar to the Classicball family of hats, because the ball size in terms of diameter is similar as well. So the
Gotcha.
load capacity is similar. Yeah.
See, the engineers just know what they're doing, right? So, and then the MB50 holds 17 and a half, a little over 17 and a half pounds. And then the original Magic Ball, the MB, holds 26 and a half pounds max capacity. So, Martin, let me ask you a question.
Sure.
What's behind the decision to have a threaded screw on top of that instead of something else?
A threaded screw on top of it.
Yeah, instead of, let's say, a quick release clamp.
Well, that's a very good question. And years back, maybe 15 or 20 years back, we even offered the MagicBall with a quick release on top that was pre-mounted here at a company plant. But then we had photographers that would return the MagicBall and said, please remove that quick release unit. I have my own quick release unit, or I have a quick release unit from a third-party manufacturer that I would like to use on top of my MagicBall. We have people using Linhof clamps or RS clamps or clamps from many different manufacturers out there. And so we decided to change the concept a little bit and give people the freedom to choose whatever works best for them. And of course, we offer our own range of quick release units. And with the MagicBall, it's similar to the Classicball again. You can remove the threaded screw on top, and this one here. Let me just camera. So this one here, it has a slotted screw again, so you can take your little screwdriver and you can remove it again. So you have both thread sizes again, or you can just use a quick release unit that lets you use its own screw and thread it right through it. So you have every possibility. And if we head back to the slide, there's a sentence on the slide that describes what's unique about the MagicBall. So it has an unbelievable positioning range of 120 degrees in virtually any plane. So with any classic ball head, like the Classicball and all the ball heads that will follow, you have 90 degrees at the most in one of the cutouts, and that is it. But with the MagicBall, you have more. You have 120 degrees in any plane. And when does this matter? Well, it's only certain cases you would use this. Think of it if you, for example, set up your tripod on a slope, the mountain slope, and you need the 90 degrees. You need to turn your camera from landscape to portrait mode, and your tripod isn't level. You won't reach the 90 degrees. But with a MagicBall, you can. Just one example. Can you think of any more, Matt?
Yeah, well, let's show some examples. We can speak with photographs.
With photographs, yeah.
Yeah. So in this case, I'll talk for a second. This is Robert Thompson, one of my favorite macro photographers in the world, or naturalists. He's definitely dead level here, but this is an unusual background or BTS shot from him. He's usually at some odd angle and suspended, and tripod legs everywhere, to not disturb what he's photographing, but to photograph it in its natural environment. And in this case, he's dead level, but you can see in some other cases where the tripod might not be level, but you can tilt it back a little bit. Another one from Robert here. And then here's a well-loved one from Michael Martin, who must be photographing a volcano here. So
he did.
Yeah.
And interesting story. When I see this image, couple of years back, Michael and Martin returned his Magic Ball for service to a company plant, and I asked him, "Well, can we keep your Magic Ball because it's your Magic Ball?" And look at how this one is so beaten. But he said, "No, I want it back. Please repair it, send it back." I said, "I will send you a brand new one," but he wouldn't allow me to keep it.
Amazing. Well,
Yeah.
every nick and scratch is earned on that one. And I'll just say,
Exactly.
one of the things I love about my Magic Ball is that no matter where I go, no matter how filthy it is or wet, it always clamps.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's very resistant to debris or conditions. It just locks down when you need it to, and it loosens up.
And you could also say it is sort of self-cleaning. So the moment the ball head gets somehow sticky or there's some grease attracted to the ball won't will naturally attract dust and dirt.
Mhm.
But let me just switch the camera here. But the built-in like plastic shell that the ball is encased with will sort of clean the ball instantly.
Amazing.
So you can just take a cloth and clean it again because there's no way that dust and dirt can enter the interior of the housing.
I think it's also important to point out that with the Magic Balls, you have two other things. At least with the two larger sizes, you have a friction control in
Right.
addition to the locking clamp. But you
Correct.
can remove that. And if you're wearing gloves or something and you wanted to have something that's easier to grasp, a larger handle, you can replace it with a larger handle.
Yes, there's a larger handle, which is twice the size of the standard handle, and
Yep.
it's made out of rubber.
There are so few ball heads that I can't even think of another one. I'm saying that to be cautious. There's so few ball heads that have accessories like that I've ever heard of. It's that thoughtfulness, that sort of system mentality that makes Novoflex shine. So.
And speaking of the friction setting, it's just the two bigger ones. So just the MB50 and the Classic MB that offer friction setting, and not the mini one. Let me just show you how this works. Let me just flip the camera here. So using this one here, there's this wheel here. So if you open the clamping by rotating the handle, there's this inner wheel here, and this is used to adjust the friction on which applies to your ball movement.
Yep.
And that's it. And then you lock it down with the handle again.
So elegant. Well done. Matthew Rice did comment to say, it would seem that the Magic Ball is perfectly suited to macro photography where the horizon is not critical.
Oh, you could say that, yeah. And one thing that is true for both the Classic Ball and the Magic Ball, and even for the smaller ball heads that will follow, is that the moment you lock down the ball, you'll lock it with either the lever on the Classic Ball or the handle on the Magic Ball.
Yep.
There's absolutely just no movement at all.
It stays put.
Which is critical for macro photographers because of the shallow depth of field that you experience in macro photography, you wouldn't want any movement to disturb your framing.
Yeah, and I want to say what Martin said slightly differently to emphasize the point. When you lock it down, it doesn't move the camera. Like some ball heads you'll see, or some locking heads will
There's no creep.
move as the clamping mechanism engages. It'll move a little bit to one side with that torque. This does not. It stays exactly where you're pointing. And like Martin said, if you have a narrow field of view, it's not going to change that. And that's a really remarkable feature.
Thank you.
And Robert Thompson, who's here, hello, Robert.
Hey, Robert.
Said, I can say
Good
without
to
a
see
doubt,
you.
the most versatile ball head I've ever used. So thank you, Robert.
Thank you. And thanks for your amazing images.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on.
Okay, let's look ball heads again. Here.
So this is a larger series called the Ball Series, and
The ball
inside the Ball Series,
series.
there's from the very, very small to just under the largest classic ball series, and with surprising qualities, which we'll talk about. Martin is setting them up right now, and we'll switch over to his camera.
Yeah, I've just switched the ball heads. So it's a whole range of mini ball heads, bigger ball heads. If you could go back to the slide again, Matt,
Yes,
we
sure.
have the load capacity. We have the load capacities here. So it's not much. It's from starting at 2 points, or over 6 points, 11 and 22 points. Pounds, sorry. And the Ball and Niger series, the blue ones here, they are available with either a 1/4 inch 20 thread on top or a cold shoe, so they can be used to set up a smartphone clamp, a tiny point and shoot camera, or a flash, a control monitor, or whatever has like a hot, like a flash food at the bottom. So there's many possibilities with the smaller ball heads here. Split the camera. These are the ones. Then we have the bigger ones, the ball 30 and the ball 40, and these are very sturdy and strong ball heads, and they have offer a cool feature. I call it field serviceable. So these two and these two, so the ball 19 and the Niger 19 and the ball 30 and the ball 40, they are all field serviceable. So you can literally take them apart in the field to clean them. Let me just show you how this works. You just unscrew the top plate here. You unscrew the locking lever here. You take out the bottom, and that's how you take it apart. You can now clean it and put it back together in the lever here. And screw the top plate back on. And that's it. So very strong ball heads, very easy to use. The only control element that they all have in common is the little locking lever here, and that is it. And for those of you who want a little more comfort, the ball 40 is also available in a model that comes with a built-in quick release unit Q mount on top, and that's the ball series, the little helpers in the studio, I would like to call them. Hey Matt, I can't hear you.
Silly me.
Muted.
There's of all days, I have some contractors here, and they're swinging hammers. So,
okay.
So the
So the little
smallest,
helpers for the studio. That's what
exactly.
what I like to call them.
Yeah. So the smallest one here, the one that's all black, that one is one of my favorite accessories. Since we do low level landscape lighting and night photography, we often carry very lightweight light stands with us to set up these lights. And you need to position the very dim LEDs, and you just need to do them with accuracy because we often use honeycomb grids on the front of them. Those little ball heads are what I use on top of my light stands to accurately position my lights, and I absolutely adore them. And the ball 30 is what I use on top of the smallest Novoflex tripod head, the basic. So that one, that ball 30 is what I use when I go hiking, and I have 2 hiking poles, and I have just the basic pod. And I put that ball head on top with the smallest quick release clamp. Yeah, there's a solution for everything here.
Exactly.
Yep.
And yet again, all of them are field serviceable.
Yeah.
I think either you or Brenda coined this term.
Yeah, it was probably Brenda.
Yeah.
Yep.
Probably.
Well,
So
any
very
question?
versatile again, and yet again, even for these little ball heads, the same that we said for the Magic Ball and the Classic Ball applies. There's no creep the moment you lock down the ball.
Right. And Dr. Tanilian said he uses the M Niger on the Novoflex flexible arm, and he finds it very useful. Thank you. Thanks for that comment.
Thank you.
So here's some in use. Oh, this is what I was just describing. I think Burned was the one that inspired me to get the Ball 30 to put on top of my hiking solution. So
yeah, he's using them on top of the basic pod with 2 hiking poles and a 3rd carbon fiber leg here.
Yep. Excellent. It's the right amount of grip for, when you get to the top of something or gets wherever you're hiking and you just need a little bit of support and you want it to stay there. This is perfect. Yeah.
Oh, Don Komrechka. See, he's using, I think, the Ball 19 here and have added a clamp to hold a flashlight here.
Yep.
Yeah. And you're using the M Niger, the smallest in the family, to do the
I think
same.
it's hidden back there, but I think he's got one back here too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent.
That's what I meant when I was referring to these balls as the little helpers in the studio.
Yep.
They can be useful in a variety of ways.
Absolutely. Agreed. Next up, we have the 2 newest additions to the Novoflex heads family. They are geared heads, and they're constructed very differently. And I'll just say, from a user's perspective, I'd say that they're ready to use in the field or in the studio just as equally. They're ready for a cocktail party, or they're ready to go out driving in the mud. That's the way that I look at them. They're beautiful and they work well. The Kopf 2 is an incredible geared head where you can reduce the gear ratio by adding handles to it. It comes in 3 different configurations, and it's absolutely extraordinary and an excellent answer to, I need a geared head. What's the best one? This is it.
And speaking of both of these geared heads, we did a separate webinar on them.
We did.
Matt, maybe you can just put a link into the chat.
Yeah,
So
I'll do that right now.
for every one of you who's interested and who wants more in-depth info on both of these heads than we can provide today, then just head over to our YouTube account and watch the replay of that webinar. But anyway, I will show you both of them in more detail by just switching the camera here and just putting the Kopf squared aside, and let's begin with the cube. So it's a geared head, like both of them are, but it has just limited movement of 15 degrees to either side. And what's cool and unique about the cube, it's a completely modular concept that went into designing this. So what you're seeing here is actually 3 components which you can take apart. So if, for example, you don't need a panel rotation on top, but you would rather want the panel rotation on the bottom, because the photographic task that you're doing is requires this, just take it off. There's a ARCA compatible foot on the top, on the bottom of this panel rotator, and just put it back on the bottom of your cube. And for example, if you don't need like 2 different axes here, as I can show you here, just take off one cube and just use one of the 2. As you can see underneath the trusty little Signer P3 here on my tripod. So it's actually a component-based system. You can either purchase the cube. You can either purchase single components or you can purchase kits. So The kits consist of either two of the cubes or two of the cubes and the Pano rotator, or you just purchase one cube by itself.
And
So for everyone doing like architecture photography who's doing copy work on a copy stand, this might be a very, very helpful accessory. Yeah, Matt, you wanted to add something?
yeah, I just wanted to emphasize that it's when you have exacting work that requires fine precision, the motion provided by the cube is something that will delight you. This is something that allows you to get really, 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 really specific with where you want something to be in one direction at a time, and you can have two directions by combining two of them. So I know at least 4 or 5 people that do a lot of copy work at the very high end, and they say they can't live without this. So it saves them a lot of time.
They just use one cube and not two combined. They just use one cube on a copy stand.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where the component based
to get parallel
system works. Yeah, exactly.
Perfectly parallel, which is so important in repro. Yep, and art repro. So yep.
So Matt, you're using the cuff squared for quite a few months now. I think I even sent over one of the prototypes before we even released it.
Yes.
Would you like to reintroduce the cuff squared to our audience?
I would love to. So the cuff squared is the head on the left. It is a geared head as opposed to a gonometer, which is what Martin was just showing you, which is the cube, Q-U-B-E. The Kopf squared, which is German for head, Kopf, and squared for the two different axes that you can work on. I'm going to switch over to Martin's camera while he demonstrates it. You'll see that in this configuration, wherever you see a blue knob, that is where you have the ability to finely adjust the angle of tilt by turning that knob, and that's a really low gear ratio, which allows you to be move with accuracy and precision. If you need to work faster, there's a lever on the side, 90 degrees around the corner, which you can open that up, and it then gives you a course adjustment, which also has detents. It has different click stops. Is it every 5 degrees, Martin?
Yes.
Every 5 degrees, you'll feel a little click. And if you wanted to move fast, you could count 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, and then lock it back down. And if you need to make fine adjustments, just grab that blue knob again and do it. In every direction that you need it, there is a bubble level to help you get square or level. And there's also, you can remove or add accessories to the top and the bottom, because the top and the bottom is native ARCA compatible. So if you wanted to get the base model that didn't have a rotator on the bottom and add it to a system you already have, this will clamp right into your existing system. The same goes for the top. If you wanted to clamp something else to the top, you could do that. Or you could thread in a quick release clamp like this one. So not only is this one of the finest geared heads that you have, it's also the lightest. Do you notice how little metal there is? And if you compare this to other popular geared heads, you'll see that they have a lot more metal, which increases the weight and also the bulkiness of carrying this around. For travel, you can put this in, you can configure this so that it's in one plane. And Martin's going to show you that now, so that it packs flat like that in your bag. And suddenly, if you've ever traveled with a geared head before, you know that there's no other geared head that does this. So there's a couple more features I'll call out. If you're like me and you like to have repeatable precision for vertoramas or panoramas, the reference marks that are around the barrels there, you can rotate them to reset your 0 point, so that you can align the reference mark with that and then begin your pano or vertorama runs. Or if you had to be at a very specific angle, you could find it or return to it.
You can zero them out. Yeah.
You can zero it out. It is so flexible and so accurate. And if you're into macro, that blue knob, you can cover that up. You can you can double the gear ratio or have it really. That's what it is. So now that you're moving at half of the speed you did before by turning a knob that's twice as large. So that let's say you're at a 2-to-1 or a 5-to-1 ratio where any movement is magnified greatly. Or if this is even great for telephoto work with the similar narrow angle of view issue. I guess I should stop because I could talk about it for hours. It's a really extraordinary head for. Sorry, I had to sneeze. For an extraordinarily wide amount of applications. I was impressed when I saw the design drawings that Martin was kind enough to share with me, and I was impressed when I held the prototype, and now I have a full off the production line version that I use on a daily basis, and I absolutely adore it. So if you need a geared head, you should take a look at this one with all seriousness.
And of course, it can be set for people that are left-handed and right-handed.
Why
like
did I
this.
not see that before? Because I'm a
See?
righty and I'm righty centric. That is
So
a
you can
really
just
important point. Oh my goodness.
adjust them for both
I'm
people.
hitting the heart button now. Somebody else hit it, but that's a really important point. If you're a lefty, this you suddenly this is for you. That's amazing.
Not many geared hats out there can do this.
That's true.
Actually.
That's true. All right. Well, so as Martin said, the Kopf Squared has a max payload of 11 pounds, and the cube doubles that at 22 pounds.
And for the Kopf Squared, again, it's available in 3 different kits. So it's the Kopf Squared by itself without a panning rotator and a QR unit on top. And then there's another kit that comes with a Q-mount QR unit on top and a simple Pano rotator without its own clamp at the bottom. And the Pro kit that is pictured here has a Pano rotator that has its own clamp at the bottom and the 2 fine adjustment handles also included in the kit.
Fantastic. Let's look at some use cases. So the more I used it, the more I realized that you could use it for practically everything, from architecture to macro, which we talked about, and art repro, which, there's use cases for both the cube and the Kopf Squared. In studio, its precision will be a welcome addition. Product photography, where you just need to have exactly the right stuff in the frame and maximize it with the least amount of white space. It's perfect. Or to have exactly the right amount of white space. The archivists and cultural heritage absolutely need precision. Landscape photography, you've always got to get level. And if your horizon's just a half a degree off, you're going to have to crop it later. It's so annoying. And astrophotographers, I don't know what they want. They're weird people. No, I'm kidding. We have much the same needs as landscape photographers, except we do it in the dark. So things need to be instantly recognizable to your fingertips.
I think we have 1 or 2 of your pictures coming on the next slides.
Sure. And then panoramas for single row panos and even multi-row panos. This is an exceedingly amazing piece of kit to work with. So, Martin, you want to talk about the architecture?
Sure. This is my good friend and colleague Andreas here on this slide doing architecture photography with an old Schneider shift lens here attached to a Nikon camera in a local church here in Memmingen. Here, Andreas again doing product photography work with our technical camera setup consisting of the Kestrel Micro and Kestrel Pro bellows. And yet again, with a Fujifilm GFX 102 and one of the new Fujifilm shift lenses doing panorama work. Wow. I think this picture here of the castle is actually composed of 3 or 4 images that have been stitched later in post.
Looks great.
And then we have some images of our good friend Robert Thompson doing macro photography with our Castle M rail and the 105 macro lens out of the C system.
Robert did add this. He said the COP squared makes high magnification macros so much easier to frame with extreme accuracy. Well said, Robert.
Thank you. Oh, I think that's one of your images.
This guy. Yeah. I'm going to repeat what Robert said because he said it so eloquently. Yeah, this one, in this case,
oh, sorry.
No, I was just going to say, you could see that everything is so long here, from the bellows extension to the heavy macro lens on the front of it, to being mounted on the copy rig there. Any movement just gets magnified so quickly, and having the super fine geared motion helped me a lot to really nail the shot.
And here it is. Here's the cube. Here we have a setup consisting of just one cube and a Pano, the Pano plate, Panorama QC, and our Balpro TS bellows on top, Fujifilm GFX, and a Mamiya lens, a 250 millimeter Mamiya RZ lens.
Oh, sweet.
On the front.
The Apo. Nice.
Yeah, exactly. Cube again. Just two components of the cube system, one cube and a Pano rotator, a Balpro TS, and our 90 millimeter flat field lens, the Schneider Pirate lens. And here's Andreas again.
He gets around.
Andreas again doing copy work. Kaiser copy stand here.
Yep.
With our Schneider 90 millimeter lens, which is great for doing copy work of flat originals.
I got one right here behind me.
Sure. Ah, you have one. And this is, I think this is one of the biggest they make that we have here in our studio.
Nice.
Okay. Slide 27 of 40.
Oh,
we covered a lot of ground.
We'll talk quickly now. Promise.
Yeah, we talk quickly. So as I mentioned in the introduction, we've split the Pano part of the presentation into single row hats and multi-row hats. And as Matt said, we will talk quickly from now on. So our single row hats are split again into three different systems. We have the VR System Mini to the left. Then we have the VR System 3 in the center and the VR System Slant. And we have some more slides going into more detail for each system. And we've added some great Pano images to them. So VR System Mini, as the name implies, it's our smallest Pano rig. It's designed for lightweight cameras such as point and shoots and micro four thirds and APS-C size cameras. It is composed of, let me just show it to you, of, well, 3 parts only. The camera here. So this is the VR System Mini here, 3 parts only. So we have the lower Pano rotator, which comes with built-in click stops. So depending on the field of view of your lens, you can make the Pano rotator click in different increments. Then we have a Arca-compatible plate, which has its own clamp sliding on top, back and forth, and a small L bracket, which attaches directly to your camera. So that is the VR System Mini. Jump right into the slides, and a cool image. I think that's one of your images, isn't it?
Yes, it is. That's in Joshua Tree, our truck.
Joshua Tree.
Yep.
So it's a lightweight system.
Yeah.
It packs flat. Usually the panel rotator. I have it sit there on my tripod, on top of my tripod. The L bracket is always mounted on my camera, and all I have to bring is the rail in the center, and that's everything that's needed to do single row pano shots with my Leica Q3.
Nice.
Yeah. Then for heavier gear like heavier mirrorless cameras or DSLR cameras, we have the VR System 3. It's like the VR System Mini. It is composed of 3 parts. So at the bottom, we have the same panel rotator like the VR System Mini. It's built in click stops. And the only difference here is that we do not have a simple rail with a sliding quick release mount on
I'll
top.
hold it a little bit lower. There you go.
Oh, sorry. But instead, we have our Castor Q focusing rail to adjust the nodal point of your images. And then at your camera, we have the same L bracket. So that's the only difference between the two systems. And what's pretty cool, if you invest into this system, you already have a focusing rail if you plan to jump over into macro photography.
Yep.
And plan to venture into the focus stacking game and similar macro topics.
Yep.
Another cool image, I think, by Matt, right?
Death Valley. Yep.
Death Valley. Taken on one of your last workshops, no doubt, right?
Yeah, this was a couple of years ago when we were in the Mojave, but the southern edge of the Death Valley National Park is in the Mojave Desert. So we traveled up to Ibex Dunes to make this photograph and many photographs after this. So yeah, but single row panos, it's really important to have simple gear that just works when you need it to. And in this case, both of these kits really fit the bill. They help you get ready to shoot and shoot with confidence, and that's what I found helps.
Like you, I have the L bracket attached to my camera always.
All the time.
So
Yep.
So all the time, the panel rotator sits on top of your tripod.
Yep.
Like me. So all you have to bring is either the focusing rail or the simple rail that is part of the VR System Mini.
Exactly.
So the VR System slant. Why didn't I bring a slant? I think we have it here on a slide, right?
Yeah, I'll go back and show. So the VR System slant, I'll circle it here, or I'll put a drawing, a line to it. This is it right there.
So the VR System slant is a single row pano head, even though it's capable of creating spherical panorama images. And it is designed to be used with circular fisheye lenses that cover a full 180 degrees field of view.
Yep.
And typically you will use the VR System slant on top of a monopod, and you will rotate with the entire system and your monopod 4 times at a 90-degree angle and just take your shots. And what's that?
I'm going to post a link to a webinar we did with you and Jan Ropanak about this topic. Exactly.
I think there's a video in that webinar where we see Jan shooting with a VR System slant.
Yep. Yeah, he'll cover that in this. It's fascinating. He also points out that you don't have to use a circular fisheye. It's possible to use wide field or super wide angle lenses too. And I find that fascinating. You won't get
which require more images to
exactly
create the full spherical image. So if you want to create a full spherical panorama, a high quality full spherical panorama at 3 to 4 images, then use a circular fisheye lens.
Exactly.
As we see it here in this example.
Yep.
On this slide.
Yep. Yeah, this one with the VR System slant, you would do exactly 4 images and be done, which is really, it's if from an efficiency point of view, if you like this and you might not know exactly where to position your camera to get the effect that you want, it's good to be able to shoot it in 4 and move on and try a different look.
The only part of the image that is not covered is the part at the bottom of the sphere, and this will usually cover your monopod, so it will disappear in that black dot at the bottom, and you can just remove it later in Photoshop.
Yeah, that's what generative fill is for. You could take a separate photograph of the nadir by taking your camera off the tripod and shooting it.
Exactly. And
using the offset and PT GUI, but that's a different topic altogether.
So multi-row pano hats. Yet again, 3 different hats. Let me just bring them into the picture.
Yeah. This topic is near and dear to my heart.
So just camera. Okay. Can we go back to the slide?
Sure. Sorry about that.
No worries. So as with the single row pano hats, it's 3 hats again. It's the VR System Slim, which you are using on a daily basis, I would say.
Yeah, that's my daily driver. Yep.
Yeah. Then we have the VR System Pro 2 HD and the VR System 6.8 HD. So first of all of these pano hats can be used to create single row panos, can be used to create multi-row panos, can be used to create vertiramas. They are at home at every playing field when it comes to panorama photography. So if you invest into one of these systems, you can create virtually everything that panorama photography has to offer, right, Matt?
Correct. Absolutely.
Okay, so the only difference between the 3 is that the VR System Mini is a very compact pano hat, and I'll show you here in more detail. This is the VR System Mini. It is composed. The VR System Slim. Yet again, it is composed of several parts. This bracket here will come off, so the lower rotator comes with built-in click stops again for different focal lengths, and this bracket here screws right on top, and your camera goes right on here. So as we have said, Matt has an L bracket attached to his camera most of the time, so he just goes right into this quick release unit here. He can adjust the nodal point by sliding this quick release unit on this rail back and forth. And we have click stops at the upper rotator again at every 10 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
And a cool feature of the VR System Slim is that it folds flat for transport. And I think that's one of the important aspects to note about the VR System Slim.
Right, because you won't use the pano rig that you're not carrying with you. So the fact that you can put it in your bag and it's always there is really significant. Yeah.
Okay, the next system is the VR System Pro 2 HD. That is this guy over here. So it is designed for heavy gear, for heavy mirrorless setups with lenses that are used wide open at, let's say, f1 1.2 or whatever, and with battery packs attached to them. It is composed of 4 different components. We have the lower pano rotator here, which can click in 8 different increments. This blue knob here is the increment selector. So you can either have it rotate freely, or you can have it rotate at 72, 84, 30, 18, 16, 12, 10, or 8 stops per full rotation. Then we have this big bracket here an upper rotator that clicks at 10-degree
A
intervals.
little bit lower. There
Oh,
you go.
sorry.
It's okay.
That clicks at 10-degree intervals, and this blue rail here that goes to your camera. So this will carry the heaviest gear that you can imagine.
Yep.
So if you're working with heavy DSLR cameras or medium format equipment with digital bags, this is the system to go. And the last system that we have is the VR System 6.8. That's the one on the right. The only different, if we compare it to the VR System Pro 2 HD, is the lower rotator, which has click stops that are designed for the use of wide-angle lenses, let's say a 12 to 24 or a 7 to 14. That's the only difference. So it has these huge click stops, and it has a lower diameter, so you can remove the tripod out of your naughtier images easier than with the Pro 2 HD.
Right. Yeah, more for people that like spherical panoramas or super wide work. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
That do like real estate photography and stuff like that.
Yeah, the real estate for sure. Yep. Architectural work too.
Mm-hmm. So again, VR System Slim, designed for lightweight cameras and mirrorless cameras. Lower panel rotator with built-in click stops at 4 different increments, and breaks down for easy transport.
I just want to add here, I want to go back and say, yes, the VR System Slim is rated for a certain weight, but let's say if you look at like a Z8 with a 24 to 70 2.8 lens on it, it's still within spec to use for this and and be reliable. So don't look at the specifications and see how heavy your gear is before, like you look at this and say lightweight mirrorless camera. Check to make sure the things that you're using might be within range, because it's very portable and I love using it.
Thank you.
Yep.
Pro 2 HD, heavy duty, designed for heavy mirrorless and DSLR equipment.
Yep. And as soon as I got the Z8, actually, that's when, and I was using longer lenses like my 70 to 200. That's when I started using the Pro 2 HD. So that shot that you saw right there is at 200 millimeters, and using the Pro 2 HD with 3 rows at 200 millimeters. So it stitched really well, and it was really windy where I was standing too. I'm very enthusiastic about the results here. It was rock solid.
Thanks. And the 6.8 HD. So as I said, the only difference compared to the Pro 2 HD is the lower panel rotator, which only offers 4 different click stops, which are designed for wide angle and super wide angle lenses.
Yep. Okay. Coming in for a landing soon. This is great.
We're almost done. Done. So MagicBalance leveling heads. These two are available in the Novoflex system. So the one on the left is the MagicBalance 20. Has a diameter of 60 millimeters, and then we have the MagicBalance Pro 7.5, which is designed to be an add-on to our Pro 7.5 tripod, but of course can be used on its own without owning or using a Pro 7.5 tripod. Both leveling heads offer 20 degrees of movement to either side, and they are perfect add-ons to any of the aforementioned Pano heads or any geared head, anything that needs to get leveled before rotating it. Anything you might want to add, Matt, here?
Yeah, like most of the heads that Novoflex offers, this has the flippable threaded mount. It could be 1/4 20 or 3/8 inches. And on the bottom, both of them have a receiver that is 3/8 native, and you can put a bushing in there to reduce it to a 1/4 20. Also, the Pro 75, you might notice that there's a black sleeve between the locking knob and the locking knob itself. That's for when you're not using it on the tripod spider for the Pro 75 tripod. You can unscrew that handle and remove the black sleeve when when you're putting it on the tripod. But when you have it off the tripod, using it elsewhere, mounted to other things such as a tripod,
It will
different
cover the
tripod.
thread.
Yeah, you can just use that spacer to keep the locking knob off the side. So, yeah, and having 20 degrees of leveling comes in really handy because a lot of other leveling heads stop at 15 degrees, and that extra 5 degrees does make a difference. I'll say that in real world.
So there's some people that come and ask, why don't you include a spirit level into your leveling heads? Well, most of the products that we covered so far, you might have noticed that come with their own spirit level. So we believe that people who put anything on top that they want to level out usually put a product on top that comes with its own spirit level
It
built
would
in.
get covered up. Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be
Otherwise, it
covered up
gets
by
covered up.
any
Exactly.
accessory. Yeah. So yeah. So this is me making or preparing to make a moonrise shot across the frozen Hudson River, but using a 1200 millimeter telescope. And it was really cold. But at that focal length, you really need something that locks down well. And you'll see that I have the Pro 75 tripod there and the MBal Pro balancing head beneath the Classicball. Because I wanted to also do a panning motion, I leveled it before I started using the ball head. And here you'll see, yeah, underneath the geared head, I added the MBal 20 so that when I was performing my vertorama for the total solar eclipse down in Arkansas, that it'd be dead level and all of my panels for that stitched vertorama would line up appropriately. It's that simple.
And you even use it to level the Benro Polaris, right?
Oh
Underneath the
yeah,
red
yeah.
lens there.
I'd say it goes without saying, but it doesn't. You can't use a tracker without being level. Period. So yeah, especially when you're using a 350 millimeter objective. So
see.
Yep.
Okay, we're almost done. So speaking of quick release units, we have a full range of, like, I think it's almost 25 to 30 different ARCA compatible rails, differing in length, differing in the amount of screws that we bring in, differing in anti-twist bars that we include. We have 2 different or 3 different L brackets. We have a plate that is the perfect add-on for any medium format camera that has anti-twist like pins included. We have a whole range of 7 different ARCA compatible quick release units, either fully automatic or manual ones, which are either available with a cross clamping capability or parallel clamping so clamping on both sides, as you can see here in the image. We even have a cross clamping, which would allow, I think it's the QMod X, Matt. Do you have one?
I do. Yeah,
At hand?
I have 2 versions of it. The one that has a thread in the
Yeah.
bottom, the one that has a clamp on the bottom. Also, I use that to take my nadir photographs on the VR Pro
Perfect.
2. Yep.
So every one of the ball heads that we covered today can be perfectly complemented with either one of those rails, depending on what camera or what lens you would want to use on top of.
I'll make this
of the
simple.
head.
If you have a situation where you need to clamp something to something else, there's got to be it's got to be something that Novoflex has thought of, and you will be able to mount it in the direction that you want, whether it's parallel or perpendicular. And with a short quick release plate or a long quick release plate, it will provide you the amount of strength that you need.
Then we have, speaking of the VR System Slim, a couple of slides earlier, we even have a series of slim plates that have a lower profile. which are perfect accessories for APS-C-sized mirrorless system cameras, which have like small bodies compared to a Z8 or a Z9.
Yep. Yeah. All right.
Wow.
Whoa.
We covered a lot.
That's awesome.
Oh, do we have any questions, Matt?
We had one question that I was working with the questioner about, Edmund. He was asking about, you know, at the VR System Slim being out of stock for months. I was asking him privately where he lives, but I just wanted to say, if you think something's out of stock, you should contact your local distributor. It might just be that they need to know that you want it and they'll order it in for you. So please always ask. And it's just a matter of it getting to you as quickly as you might want.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. Ask your local distributor or shoot us an email, and we'll be happy to connect the both of you and get a reply, or even better, the product to you as fast as possible.
What email would you prefer them to use, Martin?
Mail@novoflex.com is probably the best way to reach me.
Okay, mail@novoflex.com. I just put that in the chat. Please feel free to copy and paste that, or send Martin an email right now to say hello.
Yeah, just let us know that you were amongst the audience of today's webinar, or and that you want to speak to me, and I'll be happy to get back to you as soon as possible.
Right. Robert added this. It's not a question, it's an affirmation. He said, with the MagicBalance, the leveling head that we're talking about, you do not need a Pano base when using the Kopf squared when shooting macro. Excellent point. If you level it out and you have the Kopf 2 version that has the Pano base on it, you don't need an additional Pano base. So
you see, that's the building blocks concept of Novoflex. There's so many components that can be combined in different ways to solve different tasks.
Thank you for your contributions, Robert. We appreciate you.
Thanks, Robert.
Sue just left us a comment. Hi, Sue. Wow, so much wonderful information. Thank you, Martin and Matt. My wish list just got longer.
And as always, if you have questions right after the webinar, please feel free to shoot us an email or give us a call. Even better.
Okay.
We love that.
Edmund, if you didn't get a response from that email, I just saw your comments. Give it a shout again. Give it a try again. Otherwise, we'll reach out to you. I believe you provided your email address during the registration for this, so we'll find you and reach out to you. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay.
And Uva says thank you. And Josie said, so sorry to be late. And they will watch the replay. Thank you all so much for being here. Martin, you put together a really great presentation. It's always fun commenting on your
pleasure
products because you guys are extraordinary. So thank you.
Okay, Matt, thanks for your time. Thanks for your great images. Thanks for your support, as always.
It's a pleasure. Love you guys.
I love teaching with you together.
I love teaching with you too, buddy. And hopefully, Martin, this is talking out of class, but Martin and I might meet up in Germany this year. So I'm going to see it. We are going to meet up in Germany. So
next year. Looking forward to that.
Yeah. So me too. So thank you, everybody, for attending. We appreciate your time. If you're seeing this on the replay, please leave a comment if you have questions, or if you wanted to let us know what you liked or what you'd like to see more of. Thank you for attending. This is the last presentation of 2024. We look forward to seeing you again in 2025. And we hope that you have a happy holiday. Martin, you want to add anything?
Well, happy holiday to everyone. Thanks for being here. And we look forward to more great presentations with all of you in 2025.
That's right. Be well, be happy, and we'll see you at the next one.
Bye.
Take care.